Hi, Coach Tom Avery coming to you from Naples, Florida at the CTW Academy. Today's lesson is on how to prevent mishits. Hitting the ball off the frame. How do we prevent that from happening? That's what today's lesson is all about. Okay, when you're mishitting the ball, it's a little bit more than you're taking your eyes off the ball. Players are typically wondering, what am I doing? Am I taking my eyes off the ball? Why am I mishitting the ball? But the culprit here is usually the head. Your head is the heaviest part of your body, and when your head looks up to see where your shot is going, if it looks up too early, remember in science class they said for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So you're in the middle of hitting the ball, you're just about to hit it, you're watching the ball, but before you hit it, you look up to see where your shot is going. You're anxious to see where your shot is going. And that little movement of the head causes the racket to move. And that's why you're catching the ball on the frame. So how do we solve the problem? We've got to have some cues that we're going to use when we're out practicing so we get in the good habit of keeping the head still. Now you could just say to yourself, keep my head still until I hear the sound of the ball meeting the strings. So I'm not going to look up until I hear that sound. Once I hear the sound, then I can look up. Or you might count. You might, in other words, don't look up, hit the ball, and then count to 1. So I'm going to hit 1001, then I look up. So these different little cues are going to help. Many players will say, well, shouldn't I watch the ball hit the strings? It's physically impossible. The human eye cannot see a tennis ball actually hitting the strings. It's happening so fast. But what you can look for, you can look for the blur of the racket. So I'm watching the ball. Here comes the ball. I'm watching it right into the contact zone. And then all of a sudden I see the blur of the racket go by. That's all you're going to see. You're not going to see the ball hit the strings, but you will see that blur go by. Once the blur goes by, look up. And you're going to be looking up before your shot even crosses the net. So you have plenty of time to get ready for your next shot. So don't worry about, some people are looking up too soon because they're thinking their opponent is over there, just ready to kill them. And that's not the case. You have a little more time than you think. So, try one of those 3 cues, Look for the blur, let the blur go by, then look up. You could count, boom, hit 1001, then look, or listen for the sound. Do not look up until you've heard the sound. So go out when you're practicing. I'll show you a little practice session and how I would be focusing on this. And that way you're really creating good habits. Okay, I'm not looking up until I hear that sound. My head is still as I'm making contact. That's one you could use. And then 1001, then look up. 1001, look up. And now I'm looking for the blur of the racket. That's what you're going to see. You're just going to see the blur of that racket.
Okay, watch in slow motion. The eyes are tracking the ball, following it right into that contact zone. And the head is staying still. Now, right there is where that racket's going to start to come into view very soon here because the racket's moving fast. And that's when you're going to see that blur. But notice the eyes and the head stay fixed in that contact zone until I hear the sound. Now I'm looking up.
Okay, I saw that blur. That means I'm keeping that head still. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. That helps me out a lot. And share it with your friends. Post any comments or questions below. Also, if you'd like my free serve, my free forehand or backhand course, check the link over here or in the description box below. All the best. Happy hitting. Keep the head still. You're going to have less mishits. All the best.